A hot September morning around 11:15 a.m. A 911 call comes in from a man claiming someone shot his wife. These are never-before-released pictures of John Worrell telling investigators he's returned from a trip to the hardware store and finds a bloodbath. John's wife, Doris, lies dead in a pool of blood, shot once in the head, point blank.
I think that she covered her head up because I'd heard part of her finger was gone. So she had her hand over her head and got shot and took off part of her finger and went through her head.
There's no sign of a weapon, no sign of the killer, but Doris's sister, Leanne Tuggle, says hiding in another part of the park is John and Doris's live-in nanny, Paola Yarberry.
She went and climbed in a tunnel and stayed there until John came home.
Hiding?
Yes, she was afraid. She said she wouldn't come out of the tunnel.
These are exclusive pictures of investigators carrying the shaken 19-year-old nanny out of the park, cradling her like a baby. Leanne claims Paola tells investigators a harrowing story. After John leaves for the hardware store around 9:30 a.m., someone knocks on a door in another part of the park. Paola claims Doris goes to answer it. After that, Paola says she hears shouting, banging on metal, glass shattering, and a single gunshot. The attack is quick and brutal.
She was shot with a handgun, and there was blood all over the place. You know, did it make her whole head explode?
But who would gun down this church-going mother of three in cold blood?
The first theory that came out was that it was a gang retaliation. The sports park was a good hangout spot, and there were some folks with gang connections that went out there that caused some trouble. And John had asked them to leave, and they came back to exact revenge.
But that theory doesn't pass the smell test for Leanne. Long before that day of horror, she knew there was trouble in the Worrell marriage, lots of it.
My sister did realize that he was having affairs with younger girls.
Your sister knew that he was having affairs with younger women?
Yes.
What was her reaction to the affair?
She was a bit stunned, and she said John slept on the sofa for a while, and I think maybe they worked things out.
But not for long. There are allegations that John may have had at least 3 affairs before Doris was murdered.
Yes.
Anyone we know?
There are allegations that John had an inappropriate relationship with Paola.
The nanny. Over the course of 4 years, Paola, the young, pretty teen, becomes a woman before John's eyes.
Someone close to the family advised them not to allow her to live in the house, that would cause problems.
Soon, Leanne claims John and Paola are spending long days and nights working at the sports park. Was Paola having an affair with John?
Yeah, I would call it an affair. You could tell by the looks in their eyes.
Leanne says everybody starts noticing those looks, especially her sister Doris. By this time, Doris has had it.
She's had it. She wants to leave. One of her friends suggested that she pack her bags and she leave and she'd go home to Mama's house. And she said, no, if I go, then they will have won. She also said, you don't know what they'll do to me.
Not long after that, Leanne says John and Paola insist that Doris help clean the sports park on a sweltering September morning. As police deepen their investigation, Leanne notices what she calls odd behavior from Paola.
I was interviewed by several agents who asked me lots of questions. It was at the GBI office. When we got back to the Worrell residence, Paola was the first one to meet me at the car. And she was very antsy. And she said, what'd they say, what'd they say, what'd they say? And I thought that was a bit odd that she was just jumping all over me like this.
Leanne's not the only one who's looking for answers closer to home.
John was originally cooperative at the beginning of the investigation, but as further investigative requests were made, he requested an attorney, and therefore we could not have any further contact with him.
I used to beg John to go to the GBI with me, and he wouldn't go. He said they were crooked and to stay away from them. He said if we kept talking to the GBI, that something would happen to his children.
And not just his children with Doris. Leanne claims John was also very concerned with protecting someone else.
Paola, she was an illegal alien. The paperwork from when she came into the country at age 5 was never completed, and she had overstayed her welcome in the U.S.
So Paola gets arrested because she does not have legal status. Was that a rather public arrest?
It was. She was at a very nice restaurant here in town. She was picked up during lunch, arrested, placed in a van, and taken off just that fast.
Facing lockup and deportation, the 19-year-old finally decides to speak. And Paola drops a bombshell about Doris's murder.
Paola made statements that led agents to believe that she had more information about the death than she was willing to give the agents at the time of her deportation.
Statements that could blow this murder case wide open.
I was standing up when I read the documents and I had to sit down. That was when it really hit home for me.
Coming up, 2 people are arrested, and it's not who you think.
I kept thinking, how could this person that Doris was so kind to do this?